So another PowerPoint, another video for you. This is based on, well, inspired by famous painting of Raphael here that we see, um, which depicts Plato and Aristotle in a sort of debate. We have Plato pointing up, and he's holding the book Timaeus, and we have Aristotle with his hand extended out, palms down, um, and he's holding the book Ethics. Should we be more concerned with heavenly matters or earthly matters? Where is the truth exactly? Just asking questions so far. This is a sort of a great place to start. Plato, of course, had his theory of forms, which we probably will get to later. But, right, free will. Free will means free will. Your will is free. It's not tied to anything. It's not, you always, always, always have a choice. And if you basically practice your free will, what happens is your choice expands. You sort of start with a limited deck, but if you play your cards right, if you make the choices that give you more choices, the cards are added to you. More cards will be added to more cards until eventually you have the full deck of cards. Um, but you can go up and down and all around, left, right, until your head spins, um, figuring this out. But that is a part of free will as well. Choosing to give up your free will, even, is a part of free will. So-called fate, so-called determinism. It's ironic. Person who I respect quite a bit, Christopher Hitchens, said something really funny. He said, I believe I have free will because I must. Um, which is funny because he made it fatalistic, right? I must have free will. I'm being forced to have free will. And that is, it's a good quip because honestly, that is also a part of free will. We are sort of thrust into this world. We are sort of forced to be born, sort of. Although before you exist, it's not like you were forced to exist because you didn't exist before you existed. But still, it's kind of force, right? It's sort of, kind of. And that is why free will is so important. That's why your choice is so important. That is why to be or not to be is the question, is the choice. Right? It's more a choice than it is a question. And if you choose fate, you're choosing not to be. If you're choosing free will, you are choosing to be. It's really as simple as that. Well, it's not as simple. Nothing is quite so simple, right? But that is the choice. The two choices, two main choices that we make of to be or not to be. So I love this painting. I looked over and over and over for um, Jacob's Dream, a depiction of that um, but every depiction I found was a linear staircase, either going up once or maybe even straight up. This one, however, is a spiral, and I really like it. And I also really like how in the description in the Bible, it shows the angels going up and down the staircase, and that's what this painting also describes or illustrates, I should say, which I believe is more accurate. So the point is, you can go up and down. Again, that is the choice to be or not to be. When you increase your choices, when you choose to be, you go up. And when you lower your choices, become more fatalistic, keep thinking that the world is out to get you or out to force you to do something, this, that, or the other, you you go down that spiral. The question is, where do you want to be? Do you want to be up or down? And it really has to do with your attention. Where is your attention focused? There's heaven, there's earth. You can focus on heaven, or you can focus on earth. Um, Now, there's a way to sort of do both, and is when what spiritual people tend to mean when they say being who you are above, below as you are above, something like that, which is basically to say that you are allowing your higher self, which is in heaven already, to sort of flow through you, and you, your bodily self that's here on earth, is now a sort of open door for that higher self. But it is using, not using, but is flowing through you, and you are allowing it to happen. It is your choice, and you agree, and you're allowing your higher self to sort of be here on earth. But either way, ultimately the focus is heaven. Earth is just the place that you happen to be right now, right? There is no earth focus. The way you get to that heavenly state is epiphany. That's really the only way. It is your connection with your higher self. The stronger your connection, the more epiphanies that you're going to get. The higher up the staircase, the more epiphanies. And I'm depicting here epiphany as this electric shock, and that's exactly what it is. It's an energy, and it's kind of instant. Um, it's the aha, it's the eureka, it's those sudden moments that are frankly indescribable with words, that illuminate you, and illuminates your mind just a little bit more. And the more epiphanies you get, the closer to heaven you get. Or the closer to be an expression of heaven on earth you get. Either or. Okay. So again, where is your attention focused? Earth can be seen as a school or a prison. You can even say as a school of hardness. Thinking of inner city schools, densely populated schools. What is interesting though is I found this picture, and just it's kind of ironic how similar a prison is to a quote unquote public school. And I mean, which is a whole nother thing, we're public versus private school, but a rich person, if you were rich, and have children, you could see why they would want to privatize it. They think that a public school is beneath them, and they think I mean, think photos kind of show uh, the point. But the point is, the larger point here is the Earth itself can be seen as one or the other. Um, Even though right here I'm sort of depicting them as the same, one and the same. But the choice is you can see it as a punishment or you can see it as a lesson, a harsh lesson, but a lesson nonetheless. And that is a big difference. Which of the two that you're seeing here? Where is your attention? And what is holding your attention? Seeing the earth as a prison could also be an attention anchor, because you're basically looking at a situation and you're thinking that you're forced upon something or something's being forced upon you and you're suffering because of it. Uh, this can be a large waste of time. It's sort of seeing the glass half empty versus seeing it as half full. When you are more optimistic and when you can see something that's seeming that other people think is a bad thing, you see it as a good thing, or you see a way around um, the sort of forcefulness of it, and you see choice still in it, right? If you are a student, you can choose to ignore the lessons, or you can choose to be earnest and learn those lessons, right? It's again, it's all about choice. Now, what is gravity? This is the Greek philosopher Empedocles. I studied philosophy myself formerly, and philosophy really started with the Greeks. There's the pre-Socratics, and then Socrates kind of revolutionized philosophy, and then from there, you know, well, we eventually get to Aristotle, which kind of dastardized philosophy, and I don't know, it's been a roller coaster ever since. But when I first heard of Empedocles, he has this system where the world is either in harmony or it's being in disharmony, which is a little complicated, which I don't want to get into. But ultimately, he says, and it always stuck with me, that this whole idea of the harmony period, where things sort of come together and are indistinguishable. And he said that it's love that causes this. And then it always stuck with me, like this whole idea of gravity being a type of love, attraction. Toss a rock in the air and it lands. Why? Because it's emotionally attached, right? Rather than this sort of idea of gravity as a force, which is what Einstein, of course, and uh, and Newton first, Isaac Newton first, but also Einstein came to uh, teach. But then I also remembered the movie Interstellar, which kind of makes this a whole full circle moment. And I think the movie, which is an absolutely brilliant movie, Interstellar, it's a full circle moment, from Empedocles to Isaac Newton, Einstein, all of these astrophysical concepts, all these scientific concepts, and then there you go. At the very end of the movie, we realize It's all about love. Love is the true gravity, not force, but choice. Oh, what is poverty? Well, it's not a physical thing, if that's what you think. It determine your poverty level is determined through your choice, and it is a inner status, lacking the mastery of the mind. Now, what is wealth? And I love this guy from The Legend of Korra. I forget his name. I'm blanking on the name right now, but this is a fantastic screenshot, and it sort of shows. Okay, you can put shackles on me, you could put chains on me, you can enclose me in this space, you can imprison me, and yet I'm free. He's light as a feather. He's literally floating. It's brilliant. The Legend of Korra is a questionable work of art, to say the least. But this third season, this third book of The Legend of Korra, and this guy, brilliant. Although this actually, I think this comes from the fourth season. But when he learns to fly at the very end of the third season, and it's absolutely brilliant. He saved that series. Um, he alone saved the series. Not much left outside of this guy. Unfortunate that I'm blanking on the name, but hey. And by the way, he got this way when he finally gave up um, his attachment, right? His attachment to his girlfriend or his wife, his love interest, whatever you want to call it. She dies, and he says, "Oh, well, maybe I was never supposed to be, maybe that is my opening to also be free." Um, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant work. But wealth is attention. How much attention do you have? And how much choice do you have? If you are free to move about your attention wherever you wish, then you are the wealthiest of people. There are people right now who own stuff, loads and loads and loads of stuff. And whenever you own something, be it a car, a house, a yacht, a bag, Pokemon collections, video game collections, anything that you think is even slightly important, because it's the importance that we give things that make us remember the things. Um, Whenever you own something that is important to you, a little bit of attention flows from out of your mind and it goes into that thing. You've now placed it there, which means you've lost some wealth. It's highly ironic, but the more wealth you have physically, the less you have spiritually because of that. Now, this isn't strictly true. It's not a one for one, right? It's all about choice. So technically, you could own the yacht and the mansions and the bags and the stuffs and the collectibles, um, and not place your attention there. But how likely is that? It's not very likely, right? Yes, freed attention as well. So here we have just a couple of images again to jar the mind. One comes from this idea uh, in psychology, Sigmund Freud thought that, you know, he sort of compared um, the ego as the horse, the sort of driving force of everything that we do, and then the little man that's riding around, riding the horse, is uh, the id or the superego. But basically, the main power he would say came from uh, the ego, whereas meaning that most of what we do with the mind, we are unconscious of it. There's, of course, a famous depiction of the iceberg and this idea that most of our mind activity is unconscious, is below the water, just like an iceberg. Most of an iceberg is below water, but we only see what's above the water. And so we think that that's what our mind is, a tiny little bit that we see. But the animalistic brain is really what's driving everything, and we can't quite see that. Here I have, you know, mind and matter. It is mind over matter. Mind is always superior. Body is not. The body is the brain. The body is the instinct, the animal instincts, the bestial instincts that we have adopted, unfortunately. But that's what the people on this planet have chosen, at least so far. Um, and what is important here, really, is that the mind can affect matter. Your consciousness affects matter. And who you are internally, um, we are all many suns. So who you are internally is going to be expressed externally, and it will affect the physical world. So I just I found this comic, and I really really like it. If people sat outside and looked at the stars each night, I'll bet they'd live a lot differently. When you look into infinity, you realize that there are more important things than what people do all day. I would stargaze a lot when I was younger, and it was some of the most beautiful moments um, of my life. Just sort of gazing and wondering and connecting with the stars. Frankly, I mean they're beautiful, but they're also awe-inspiring. And when you stargaze, there's a humbling experience that comes with that, that sort of just reconnects you and resets the mind, because there's so many things happening on Earth that it can be difficult. We can get lost, so to speak, and on this planet. But if you stargaze, it can be a reconnect for you, a reset for you, because yeah, that last bit there. If you don't stargaze, um, how could you ever escape the trap? Sort of crabs in a barrel effect of this planet that is constantly everything, all the ads that we have, all the things constantly, 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 advertisement, marketing, constantly pulling at your attention. the news constantly pulling at your attention, just to take a moment and disc- disconnect from the hubbub of this world and reconnect with the larger universe. And that is stargazing. It's also meditation, but stargazing is a form of meditation, I would say. A very welcomed form. And this is the last side. It's very simple. If you need, if you want, if you want to be free of this planet, nothing on this planet can hold your attention. It goes back to Lot and his wife, Sodom and Gomorrah, which is really just a an analogy of the earth itself, the planet itself. Lot's wife looked back. She turned back. She said, but I remember that thing that is important to me. That's why she looked back. And she became a pillar of salt. All allegorical, of course, all symbolic, of course. Um, but the reason why she became a pillar of salt, well, what is salt? Salt is of the earth. It's no different than the departure that we human beings have made of our bodies, which mimics beasts and animals. I imagine on other planets, the departure has gotten so bad that the people on those planets are more reptilian than mammalian. Um, they're they probably lay eggs. Shit. Who knows? Who knows? You know how the point is. You probably don't want to know. You probably don't want to know how far the departure can get. Um, because what I see on this planet is it's okay. It's quite the departure, but that's okay because even the departure isn't going to hold my attention because I know my origin and I know the essence of my being and I know where I'm bound and where I'm destined. Um, and this planet will certainly not hold me. It cannot hold me because I am a I am universal. I'm bigger than this planet. I'm more than this planet. So how could this planet possibly hold me? How could I possibly make this my home? Um, if I'm above it all, then here I have what on earth compels your gaze? Family and entanglements. Maybe that's what Lot's wife looked back on. She said, "Oh, my friend, uh, yeah, that I'm leaving behind. Desire, pleasure, fame, money, authority. A lot of people have egos. Trump wants to have a Nobel Peace Prize. He wants to be on the cover of every magazine. He wants to sell everything with his name on it. He wants everything to have his name on it, printed, embroidered. He wants to be in the history books. So he's gonna stay on this planet because he's gonna it's gonna he's probably not going to give that up anytime soon, and he's still seeking that. Seeing others as lesser or more. Well, Earth is one of the few places that that is possible, where you can be more than someone or less than someone. In heaven, everything is even. Heaven is the most democratic place. Earth, it's only like a few hints of democracy, of egalitarianism, but not very much. Clearly, there is still very clearly a caste system, a superior, an elite that is sort of um, patting themselves on the back and um, smelling their own farts, if you will. But yeah, if you want to see yourself as less or more, you gotta stay on Earth. And by the way, less, more on that less part, you can see yourself as less and want that. There are plenty of people that want to be ruled, that want someone over them, that want to be dominated. Because pride goes both ways. I used to think that pride was only up, that you can be an upper pride, but you can be a bottom pride as well. Meaning, you think that you're so great because you're so humbled, or so humble. So you think pride goes both ways. It goes up and down. It's not just a superiority thing. Superiority in the classic way, right? You can think you're superior because you're so humble. And I'm certainly better than these rich people who take so much and think that they're so much better because they're so much higher than everyone. Their names are in the history books, right? Surely I'm better because my name is not in the history book. Well, no, you're seeing yourself as less and more. And I mean, I guess that's sort of the dualistic wrestling match that you get with duality, as I explained in my first video, my first PowerPoint video, of how we fell and how we get back up, is all that. Um, and you can wrestle and wrestle and wrestle with this pride of seeing yourself as better, seeing yourself as less than, seeing yourself as superior, seeing yourself as inferior. It really is a revolving circle. By the way, with the so-called elite as well, if you are a celebrity, you might think, oh, I have all these followers and I'm so wonderful and I'm so lovely because I'm so adored. But what makes you lovely and adored? Your followers. The people who sort of bow down and kiss your ring and your ass, right? Um, and how ironic that it's really basically the same thing, and that's what you get with duality. You realize it's the same thing. It's its own walking contradiction. There is no follower and there is no leader. They are the same. Every leader is pulled on by their collective following. Um, most you know brilliant example of this is the beehive or the bay hive, if you will. The queen bee, Beyonce herself, and real bee, the real beehive, the honey beehive, anyway. The queen is not the queen. She's not actually the leader. I mean, she kind of is the leader, kind of, but it's really actually the hive that's leader. And the hive can just determine, hey, this queen has got to go. And the hive can kill the queen and replace the queen. In many ways, the queen is the leader, but in many ways, she's also a slave of the hive itself. And how ironic. I mean, it's a perfect example. Why would you want to be a celebrity? Because it's just another entrapment. I mean, I can see if you want to trap yourself with something legitimate, sure, fine, whatever. But why trap yourself with a self contradiction? That makes no sense. A leader follows, a follower leads because they complain. They direct their leader, hey, this is how I want to be directed. This is how I want you to lead me. Do they not? When a celebrity with a large amount of fans goes out in public and looks a way that their fans don't want them to look, I mean, what happens? Their fans complain and they say, you have to look this way. We want you to do this. We want you to do that. We want to see this from you. We want to see that from you. We want this product from you. We want that product from you. We want, and they're pulling each other. It's like the ventriloquist doll is is pulling the strings of the ventriloquist doll, and that is not freedom, not in any way, shape, or form. Um, and I'm so happy that I figured this out. I'm so happy I saw this because people who have followers, it's like you're trapped. You are trapped, and you don't even see it. People think, oh, it's so great. I have followers. I have so many people who follow me. And I don't know. For me, it's the creepiest, fakest, thing, plasticiest thing that there is, and I want to have no involvement in it. I am not a leader or a follower. I am independent. I am me. I am, and that's it. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say. Until next time.